So President Trump was given a very big victory on Russiagate. The Mueller report found absolutely no evidence of collusion with the Russian government's effort to interfere in the 2016 election. And while he is publicly celebrating by yelling, "No collusion!" because, well, they didn't find collusion. In private, part of Mueller's report did bother him. Now, this is according to a report from Axios that reveals that the president was initially upset that Attorney General William Barr revealed that Special Counsel Robert Mueller did not exonerate him from obstruction of justice. So now, according to the report, Trump was apparently frustrated after seeing cable news chyrons that emphasized that Mueller did not completely clear Trump of obstruction in his report on Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election. One source told Axios, "The media chyrons and outlets all jumped on that as a sign of more to come, / the case not being tied up with a bow." Now, look, they continued with that by saying, which is why he's pushing the complete and total exoneration line. His initial reaction was angry over the coverage that line got. Can you just, take this for a win that it is? No collusion. Look, it's very obvious that he did try to obstruct the investigation. But nothing will come of it. But now you're mad about the TV coverage. Oh, it's not complete and total exoneration. I'm so mad. And look, the whole thing, again, super absurd. We saw him on live TV admitting that he fired James Comey because he didn't like the Russia investigation. The Russia thing, right? Then, of course, he backpedaled, concocted a crazy story about protecting Hillary Clinton. And are you kidding me? No, you're the guy who's at your rallies. Lock her up, lock her. Do you guys remember that? Any of that? I mean, come on, man. Oh, no, we were protecting Hillary Clinton from James Comey because we think James Comey was super unfair to Hillary Clinton. That's why I fired him. And then he did a bad job. And then, well, first it's a Russia thing, then it's a bad job, and then protecting Hillary Clinton. Nobody bought any of that. Nobody. So now, why? Why is it not obstruction of justice? It may be a bit of a technicality. Fortunately for him, the investigation focused on collusion instead of the other things that he might have actually done. And here's the thing, my speculation of why he hated the investigation so much. They're going to get into his finances and maybe uncover some of the other shady things that he might have done. I'm just saying. Look, he hates being investigated for any reason because it turns out when you're a criminal, you don't like investigations. I know, super weird, right? But they focused on collusion instead of money laundering, tax fraud, bank fraud. Look, we know in a recent report, thanks to people, working at Deutsche Bank, who are now cooperating with other investigations into Trump and his finances, we know that he inflated his net worth of his properties and assets of up to 70% in order to get a new loan from Deutsche Bank. Deutsche Bank basically loaned him over $2 billion over a series of years. I think a couple of decades around. And again, the loser defaulted on pretty much everything, almost every single loan he was ever given by Deutsche Bank, because he's a terrible businessman. And of course, he had overstated his wealth. So he lied in order to get money. That to me would seem like bank fraud. And ironically, he might have inflated his assets in order to get a loan, but then deflated them when it came to paying taxes. So, again, a grifter. Now, the Mueller report, as I said before, they only looked at collusion within the confines of the 2016 election. And so that was a very narrow scope that they looked at, and of course, they did not find anything. And as far as obstruction, of course, this was left, basically the decision to go after him for obstruction was left to somebody at the DOJ, somebody that Trump had appointed, William Barr. So, surprise, surprise, shockingly, William Barr did exactly what he was put there to do and said, oh, we don't find any evidence of obstruction of justice. He was put there exactly to do just that. He even wrote a memo before being appointed to the Department of Justice, arguing that the president cannot be indicted, a sitting president cannot be indicted for obstruction of justice. He didn't believe in that. So are we at all shocked that this happened? At all. We shouldn't be. Now, nonetheless, Trump gets mad at the media for accurately reporting that he wasn't and completely 100% exonerated of everything. The only thing that calmed him down was the DOJ saying, or his lawyers assuring him that the DOJ will never touch him on obstruction, according to that report. The president talked with his legal team, and they assured him that Barr's decision to personally clear Trump of obstruction charges would be enough to get him over the finish line. See? Barr delivered, and they knew he was going to deliver. Now, the report also claims that Trump has privately complained that former campaign chairman Paul Manafort was treated very, very unfairly, although he has not discussed giving him a presidential pardon yet. To Paul Manafort, he was the only one that wasn't the rat. He's being treated so unfairly. For what? He actually committed crime. He is a literal criminal. And yet, oh no, they're treating him so unfairly. Ridiculous, man. No, Manafort lied to Congress. Manafort pretended to work with prosecutors. He literally worked as a foreign agent, lied to them, and still got away with less prison time than people who smoke pot. Again, ridiculous. And so, look, I don't know if there's going to be a pardon for Manafort. Even though he was one of the only ones that stayed loyal, by the way. I mean, you had George Papadopoulos. He did not stay loyal. Michael Flynn did not stay loyal. Rick Gates, Michael Cohen, definitely. And all these people, turns out they're going to prison for their crimes. But Manafort also going to prison. But he's the one guy that conceivably the president would put a pardon or give a pardon to. And will he? I don't know. Now, there's a lot of people telling him, don't do it, because it's going to look really, really shady. For example, you have Lindsey Graham, right? He said of pardoning Manafort, quote, I don't think that would be very smart. No. Yeah, but Donald Trump, have you ever known him to do anything that you would consider smart? He's not a smart person. So we'll have to see what happens on that front. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a patreon.com/TYTNation set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent, progressive media.